Hey guys, guess what? In this episode, we are grading the forwards. All right, we are back, and yes, it is just me once again in this episode. And in this episode, it's going to be part two of our end of season grades. And obviously, if you listened to us in the last episode, I graded the goalies and the defensemen of the Hurricanes, and now I'm going to be grading the forwards. So it's going to be a fun episode. And next week, we're going to start on a whole new mini episode series recapping this past season. And and that's going to be fun as well. But first is we have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off of your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Report, all one word. It's a good deal to use if A, you haven't used it yet, obviously. And second, if you want to get a discount on some tickets near a venue that uses SeatGeek. So again, very, very great deal. We also have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate, there is a link to that on both our YouTube, if you're watching us, and wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple or Spotify. So, also another thing too is if you're joining us for the first time, we do have episodes coming out Mondays and Fridays of every week, around 30 to 45 minutes. And just to give you guys a heads up, don't worry, I will say this in future episodes, but in this off season, there are going to be a couple of days, a couple of Mondays and Fridays that I will not be releasing an episode, but it's just because it's a holiday, and usually when there's a holiday that falls on a Monday or Friday, there's no episode that comes out. So the only two instances that happens this off season, that's Independence Day because that happens on a Friday, and obviously Labor Day, which is September sometime. Sometimes it's actually on my birthday. It is on my birthday this year. I did not know that. But yeah, my birthday is September 1st. So yeah, some people find it funny that my mom was in labor on Labor Day. But enough on the podcast schedule. And I'm finally going to be talking about some things around the league here. And again, more hardware is given out, more trophies. Uh, since our last episode, we have had a few players been given out trophies. One of them is Anze Kopitar, who won the Lady Byng Trophy. And for those of you who don't know what the Lady Byng Trophy means, it's given out to the player with the best sportsmanship. And I think another thing too, I know it's definitely sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct combined with a high standard of playing ability. And you know what? I do think Kopitar exemplifies that. He's a very, very good player. He's one of I think the best defensive forwards, or I would say probably defensive centers in the game. Obviously, I think the best defensive center is probably Barkov, but Kopitar, he's right up there. He is a bit of an older player, so he's been around a lot longer than Barkov has. So he is a veteran, but he's still a very good player for the LA Kings. And another player that received a trophy, this is the Norris Trophy. This is the best defenseman in the NHL, and that is Cale Makar. And to me, that does not surprise me at all. I would say, even if you're probably a casual fan listening to this episode, you probably a little bit know of how good Cale Makar is. He's a guy that can play it all. He's very good defensively, very good offensively. I literally do think he is the best defenseman in the NHL. I love Jacob Slavin, but I do think Makar is better. Now, Slavin probably is a little bit better defensively, and I've had this discussion before and on a previous episode, I believe, but I've always thought that the NHL should have two type of trophies for defensemen. one for purely offensive defensemen and one for defensive defensemen. I believe there was somewhat of a concept of a defensive defenseman type of trophy called, I believe, the Ding Lombardi Trophy. But I believe if that happened, I believe one, it'd be more fair to other defensemen like a Jacob Slavin to actually get recognition for actually defending and not just getting points. So I know that there's been a huge discussion on that, so I'm not going to delve deeper into it because that's just going to give me an aneurysm while talking. Because I'm telling you, I love Jacob Slavin, and I mean, he received, I think he was 8th overall in Norris Trophy voting, but regardless, I think Slavin. I really do think you look at all the pure defensive defenseman in this league, I do believe he is number one. He is that good. So the next thing I do want to talk about is the Calder Trophy, which exemplifies the best rookie of the year. And this now, there are some fans out there that think, well, since this person, or I would say, since these players didn't get the trophy, they're not going to have good careers. I don't believe that. Just because you don't win the top rookie trophy doesn't mean you're not going to have a good career. We have plenty of players on this team that have not won the Calder Trophy that have gone on to have great years. I mean, think of Seth Jarvis. The last player, if you guys don't remember, that actually won the Calder Trophy for the Hurricanes is actually a player that's playing tonight, and that is Jeff Skinner. Yes, he's playing tonight. He's on Team Edmonton. So I will say, I mean, obviously, I do think Florida's the better team. I am definitely going for Edmonton, especially tonight, because, listen, I like Jeff Skinner. I really did when he was a Hurricane, but I understand why he probably had to go at the same time. So, but Lane Hudson, he wins it. To me, that's not really surprising. He's been a very, very good defenseman. He has amassed a lot of points under St. Louis. And I'm telling you, I think this Montreal team, not just him, they have lots of good players. Guys like Nick Suzuki, Yaroslav Koski, and just more good players. So that's kind of it for all the players that have won trophies since our last episode. There are a couple things I do want to talk to. Yeah, I'm gonna save kind of the big thing for the last. But I don't think I've said this before in a past episode. If I did, I apologize, but I'm going to bring it up here. But we have a player that is looking to get back into the league, and that is Jonathan Taves. Now, there might be some fans out there that think, oh, he's a center. We know he's had a good history. He has played very good on the center position, obviously, most notably with the Chicago Blackhawks. And I mean, you know what? If the Hurricanes signed him, I do think it would be an upgrade from where we are at center. I'm not saying that he's better than Aho or Stahl, but I am probably going to say, could he be better than KK? I think he could, because, I mean, if you see a guy who's trying to get back into the league who has not been in the NHL for quite some time, I mean, for the record, if you guys are wondering why he hasn't been in the league for a while, it's because he's been impacted by COVID. I hate it for him, but he's a player that's been impacted by COVID, and he's wanting to get back into the league. And Jonathan Taves, I'm telling you, if he's a player that wants to get back into the league, I think he can do it, because I think he can be that good. Again, not saying the Hurricanes are going to sign him, but if they do, I think it could be a bit of an upgrade compared to the players of KK and probably Mark Jankowski. Not saying he's at an Aho level, not saying that he can play as good as Jordan Stahl, but I think he could be pretty. I would say probably, if I were to have a safe bet on how good he could be, I would say at worst, a top nine player. So it's going to be interesting. From what I heard, is that there are lots of teams lined up to want his services. So we'll see where he lands come July 1st. Another thing, too, is that we have a trade to announce. Yes, we do. We have Chris Kreider and a fourth round pick traded to Anaheim from the New York Rangers for Carey Terrence and a third round pick. For those of you who don't know who Carey Terrence is, he is the 59th overall pick back in 2023 draft. He's played 45 games, 20 goals, 19 assists, 39 points in the OHL. I see this trade as a pure cap dump from the Rangers. And just looking at the Rangers cap space right now, and for the record, I am looking at Puckpedia, but the Rangers currently have, I would say, yeah, they have $14.9 million in cap space. So they still have quite a few players that they need to sign. Keandre Miller is a notable player that they need to sign. Will Cooley is another player, and I think this is a guy who's going to get paid pretty handsomely because he's a big guy, and this is a league where I would say teams specifically need big guys. I mean, just look at Florida. Part of their DNA of how they're winning is they're big. So obviously, big guys are going to be in demand. Obviously, you need to have skill. I'm not trying to discount that, but you need big players. And Will Cooling, 82 games, 20 goals, 25 points. 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points. So Rangers, they still need to sign quite a few key players, but overall, do I think that they're going to be able to sign those key players? Yes, I do, because they now have gotten rid of Kreider's contract. We'll see what Kreider does in Anaheim. And you know what? As a Hurricanes fan, I'm happy Kreider's going out west. It was a pain playing against Kreider. If you guys don't know, he has been a notable hurricane killer. So seeing him out west where we only play him twice instead of 4 times, I'm happy about that. I really am. So that's pretty much it when it comes to things going around the league here recently. And a few things I do want to talk about when it comes to hurricane stuff, because some things has been announced since our last episode. And one of them, this is a cool event. It's happening this Saturday. But for those of you who are season ticket members, there is a yard sale happening. So you might be able to get some stuff, some signed free stuff, free hockey gear, whatever, or discounted hockey gear. It's going to be fun. If you guys like doing that type of stuff, I encourage you guys to go. Also, another thing, too, while I'm recording, we have someone outside my apartment complex who's doing yard work. So if you hear a lawnmower, that's probably why. Because I am definitely hearing that lawnmower very well. But back to the episode. And another thing, too, is that the Hurricanes have announced the schedule of the Prospects Development Camp. They do this once a year. Not really surprising. And it's going to be happening from June 29th to July 30th. So we'll see how some prospects do. It's going to be interesting, I think, a little bit, just because even though I do expect this team to make some trades and signings, I mean, you also want to have that competition too. And prospects, if they want to get in, and there are certain prospects, obviously, I think Bradley Nadeau is going to be headlining the whole camp, but you also have Scott Morrow probably. He's going to Scott Morrow might be in there. The reason why I say might is because he does have a handful of NHL games under his belt. I don't know if he's going to participate in that, but Bradley Nadeau, I think, definitely is going to be a part of it. From by the time of me recording this, I have not seen the sketch, or I would say the roster. So I could be wrong about these players at the same time. But Bradley Nadeau, if he's in it, yeah, he's going to be the big name, obviously. And if Scott Morrow's in it, you know what? Good for him. He gets more development. And obviously, this offseason, he needs to develop more. Uh, I mean, with Morrow, like, he was put into the fire. I would say the same thing as Nick Kitchen in the playoffs, but there's always room to grow. And I do think his potential is an NHL defenseman. Whether I think that's top four or more of a top six type of role is kind of up for debate. But regardless, Morrow, I do think his potential is an NHL defenseman. And another thing too, speaking of Scott Morrow and Bradley Nadeau, they were both named to the AHL Top Prospects team. And when I saw that, I was actually very, very happy. And I think this was one of the very few occasions where we've had two prospects enter into the Top Prospects team. So I'm telling you, just those two prospects alone makes this Hurricanes team look bright into the future. Now, not saying that they're going to keep them because I mean, every player, I mean, this is a business. Every player is an asset. You never know if they're going to be traded or not. But regardless, both of these players are considered to have very good potential in the NHL. I would say probably more so Bradley Nadeau than Scott Morrow, but you just never know. And Nadeau, if you guys don't know, he is very notable for his goal scoring ability, and we definitely need that. So he to me, he's definitely a talking point when it comes to maybe making the roster or not. So that's pretty much it for Hurricane stuff. I'm gonna get to a sponsor and then we'll do our end of season grades with the forwards. The fastest game on ice just hits another gear. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Final, where legends are made and every shift could turn the tide. And now with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can take every slapshot, breakaway, and overtime thriller to the next level. New to betting on the Stanley Cup Final? You're in for an exciting time. Getting started is a breeze. Fire up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, pick your team to win, lock in your wager, and you're off to the races. It's fast, simple, and puts you right in the middle of the action. Here's the kicker. New customers who bet just $5 will score $300 in bonus bets if their wager hits. That's right, turn $5 into a Stanley Cup Final payout. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. That's promo code THPN to unlock $300 in bonus bets when your $5 bet wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Copyright 2025 NHL. All right, so the first player I'm going to get to is Taylor Hall. The player that we got along with Mikko Rantanen. Obviously, Rantanen is gone, and honestly, he's not even on this list because I just didn't think he played enough games to be graded. And plus, I might be a little bit biased against him anyways. But Taylor Hall, boy, he was something because, I mean, if you guys remember that Rantanen trade, we were more surprised that we got Mikko Rantanen than Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall was just a sweetener. Like, we were like, wow, we got Rantanen, who was the biggest one, but we also got Taylor Hall as well. So it was nice to get two players. And obviously, you have the whole Rantanen drama. But besides the whole Rantanen drama, you had Taylor Hall, who came out looking great for this team. He really did. Now, I would say at the start, even though it was looking very, very good, he was a bit snake bitten. He wasn't really getting the points, but eventually, I would say probably maybe a month or two in, probably maybe yeah, probably maybe a month or two. He started to get the points, obviously, and just looking at the stats, he played I think overall 19 games, and the points that he got in those 19 games is, let's see, Taylor Hall. So overall, I mean, he plays 77 games, but that was with obviously combining his time in Chicago. But he played, sorry, actually, he played 31 games. I don't know where I got the 19 from, but he played 31 games. He got 9 goals, 9 assists for 18 points. That is pretty good for a player that you got at the trade deadline. And he really, I mean, those points somewhat show it because he was playing very, very good. And what's great about Taylor Hall that I really appreciate is that he actually has some size. Does he use it? Probably not. But regardless, he is a player that plays with a lot of speed. That's to me what's noticeable is I think he's a very, very good skater. Very good. And he's a guy that can obviously, I think he's mainly more of a playmaker than a goal scorer, but he has shown he can make very good goals. And I know this is taking going way back, but he was a top pick. I believe he was number 1 or number 2 back in, I think, what was it, 2012 draft, I believe, because the debate was Taylor Hall or Tyler Sagan. I remember at the time. So Taylor Hall, I am giving him a grade of a B plus. Obviously, when it got to the playoffs, I mean, listen, I still thought he played very, very, very good, but he kind of reverted back to where he kind of started with the Hurricanes. He just wasn't getting a lot of points, but he still, I thought, played excellent, and that's kind of part of the reason why I gave him a B plus. Do I think he was an A plus? I mean, if you want to give him A plus, I see somewhat of an argument for it, but I think if he gotten a little bit more points, just a little bit more, to me, he would have gotten an A plus. It's to me, it's really hard to get A pluses to some of these players, but Taylor Hall, I do think he did play very, very good. The next player, Jack Roslovic. And this is a player, to me, he was a little bit tough to grade. I am going to give him a B minus. And the reason why I'm giving him a B minus is because of how good of a start Jack Roslovic had. Like, he was putting up goals left and right. And you could argue maybe you probably should when you're playing on a line with Sebastian Aho, because he was. But regardless, I mean, he was a goal scorer for this team for the good start of it up until probably November, December ish. Then he just fell off a cliff. He really, really did. Because, and I think when he fell off a cliff, I mean, he wasn't playing terrible, but he just wasn't as impactful as he was. And I think also another thing, like the expectation for Jack Roslovic for me was a player that's a top of 9 type of player. He's not a Jarvis Stankoven type of player. But I mean, you look at his stats here, Jack Roslovic, he got 22 goals, 17 assists, 39 points. Again, most of those points came from early on in the season, cooled off. I actually thought in the playoffs, he did not play every game, but he did play quite a few. And I thought in those games where he played a few, I thought he played pretty decent. So that's why I'm kind of giving him a bit of a B minus. And that minus part to me is the reason why I gave him that was just because he had just a long, long time after the start of that season where he was kind of invisible. So the next player, on is Andrei Svechnikov, and to me, this is a player where I wish I could grade him both for regular season and playoffs because now I'll just go ahead and get my grade on Svech was a B. And the reason why I'm giving Svechnikov a B is because regular season, I probably would have rated him probably a C. I mean, the guy got 20 goals, so I'm not going to grade him like a D. But I did expect a lot to him to be a lot better. So that's why I kind of gave him a C. Uh, I I wanted him to have a bit of an A performance in the regular season. We did not get anywhere close to that, but also, I mean, he did score 20 goals. I know. Listen, I expect a lot more from Svech. I really do. But just from the point totals alone, because if you look at his point totals in 72 games, he got 20 goals, 28 assists, and 48 points. I cannot give a player a lower grade than a C when you put up that many points. But I do give him a C for regular season. But in the playoffs, I give this guy an A, like an A. So that's why I kind of average the grades and be like, okay, I'm going to give him a B because of how well he did in the playoffs. He got like 9 goals in the playoffs. He was playing great for the Hurricanes, and that's the type of player we need to see. And kind of my expectations for him next season is play like he did in the playoffs. Svech was just he was a difference maker, and that is his ceiling. He can be that difference maker. I think he has one of the best shots on the team. He just did not use it in the regular season and finally came alive in the playoffs. But that's why I gave Svechnikov a B as my end of season grade. The next player is to me Jordan Stahl. And this is a player who I was like, you know what? My expectation for him is to be just a good defensive center and not let the other team score. And you know what? I gave him a grade of an A because, I mean, you look at the points this past season when it comes to Jordan Stahl, the guy put up quite a bit of points. To me, he put up more points than I expected him to. I expected this guy to get probably around the 20-point range, but he got more than that. He got 13 goals, 23 assists, 36 points. And for a guy who, I mean, obviously he was, I think, our clear best second line. I mean, yeah, he was our clear best second center behind Aho. Boy, he's played great. He really has. His game doesn't change. He's very, very consistent. And you know what? I mean, if I was the head coach, if I was Broad Brindamore, I'd be like, yeah, that's why you're getting lots of minutes. And listen, I agree because the guy does play very, very good. He just, I mean, obviously the point totals isn't there from probably 10 years ago. But I'm telling you, if I had to pick any center to win a faceoff and get get me out of a crunch, Jordan Stahl would be high up on that list. He is still a very, very good defensive forward. I think he's one of the best defensive forwards in the game. So I give him an A just because of that reason alone. The next player is a rookie, and that is Jackson Blake. There were no expectations at all for this player. In fact, I did not even expect this player to make the playoffs. I'm sure, I mean, there might be one person listening to this be like, oh, I voted for Blake to make the team. I didn't. If you did, good job. But I think the majority of us would say we did not expect Blake to make the team at all. We expected a guy like Nadeau or Uncle Sorum to make the team. This guy literally came out of nowhere because he was playing so good. Bruno was like, I can't send this player down, which is exactly what happened with Jarvis. But Blake, I give him an A plus because he was playing superb hockey in the regular season, almost throughout the regular season. Yeah, there were some points where he was probably, uh, I mean, listen, I love the guy. I will admit he's small, but there were points where It looked like he was getting overpowered. But you know what? That's okay. The guy's a rookie. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on a guy who's playing his first NHL season. But boy, he made to me the most of it. Jackson Blake, you look at his point totals, and he got 17 goals, 17 assists, 34 points. Now, at the same time, I will say this because I think there is somewhat of a debate, especially on Kane's Twitter, of maybe trading him. I think if you trade him for a guy like maybe a Jason Robertson, or if it's to trade him in connection somehow to try and get Mitch Marner, I think you do it. But at the same time, that's only if you're getting those type of players, because I think Blake is a fantastic player. I think honestly on the team, his stick handling ability is one of the best that I have seen. Like, he can get around a defenseman very, very easy. He's a great skater, has lots of speed, pretty good shot. He can pass the puck. Just such a great player, and it was out of nowhere too, which is why I gave him an A plus. The next player is going to be Eric Robinson, and a little bit like Jackson Blake, I did not expect much from this player, and the grade I'm gonna give him is, you know what, a little bit like Jack Roslovic. He had a scoring touch. Did it disappear for a bit? Yes, it did. But no, I'm going to give him an A minus, just because the expectation for me was, okay, he's probably going to be a depth player. But you look at the impact that he has made this past season with Eric Robinson. I mean, 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points. That's very good for a player who's expected to be a depth player. Very good. And obviously in the playoffs, like Robinson, he only got 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. Do I still think he played good? Yeah, I did. But just because of all the stuff that I just said, that's why I'm giving him an A minus. The next player is Sebastian Aho. And this is a player that I have thought quite a bit about. Aho, I think the way he plays the game, I think he is a first line center. But do I think that he's a superstar type of player? No, I do not. But do I think he's good enough to be on a first line? Yes, I do. So that's my take on Aho. This past season, I mean, I think it was a bit of a down year for him in terms of offensive production. But I think if you look at the other parts of his game, I thought he was pretty good. He's still a good player when it comes to the defensive side of the puck, and he can still win you faceoffs. So I'm not gonna harp on Aho too much. Uh, I I do give him an A minus just because, again, his offensive production was a bit low. Because I really do think Aho can hit 90 points. I really do. If he plays angry, I think he can hit 90 to 100. But in the playoffs too, I think consideration to that as well is the fact that Aho, I mean, he was somewhat invisible throughout probably some of the playoffs, but he, I mean, that elimination game against Florida where we got eliminated, and obviously the game where we eliminated New Jersey. I thought those were the two games where we were like, okay, we're seeing the Aho that we know and love. So I give him an A minus. The next player is Jordan Martinook. Again, this is a player a lot like Jordan Stahl. I don't expect him to get lots of points. I expect this guy to kind of eliminate the opposition, but with them not getting goals. But you know what? This is a player that has gotten lots of points. 15 goals, 21 assists, 36 points. In the playoffs, I think he amps it up another level. Obviously, he had 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points. I really don't think he was 100% in the playoffs. I know there weren't any injuries or stuff reported in the exit interviews, but I still believe there was something going on with Martinook. Regardless, though, Martinook, he's a very, very good defensive player. He is, to me, the player that plays with an edge that I really, really like. Does he have any skill? No, he does not. But part of the reason why I really like Martinook is every game he gives 100% work ethic. And I've said this before, but there are some players in our top six that do not deliver the same work ethic as Jordan Martinook does. So, because of that, Jordan Martinook, you get an A in my book, sir. The next player, Jesperi Kokniemi. I give him a D. And the reason why I am a little bit critical of KK is because, one, do I think he probably played a little bit better this season compared to the last season? Maybe. But regardless, this is a player that, to be honest, I think he has the potential to and the tools to be a second line center. But I think and this is a huge reason why I give him a D, I think part of it is because I don't think he has kind of the motivation to be a second line center. I think there are times where he's invisible. I think there are times where he just doesn't, where he doesn't really want to be there on the ice. I just give him a D. He's made stupid plays. The most notable one was in Game 5 against Florida. That really did tick me off. And Brendan Moore has given him ice time to be good. And when he does, it might be for a few games or some when he does play good. And he has. There were stretches. But regardless, with KK, I mean, I just give him a D. I just don't think to me, he's a fourth line player. He just is. I just don't, I mean, obviously, there are times where he will get in your face a little bit, but just the way that he plays, I just don't think he's the player you want to have on your team if you're wanting a Stanley Cup. I'm sorry. I just don't. If you guys want to know his point totals, he got 0 goals, 4 assists, 4 points. Again, playing lots of ice time, didn't get any goals. KK in the regular season at 12 goals, 21 assists, 33 points. So yeah, that's my view of KK. And I could go on a whole tangent with KK. I'm not going to do that in this episode. But Seth Jarvis is the next player. I gave him an A just because he played very, very good this past season. And I would say probably in the playoffs, I thought he played very, very good. In the regular season, 73 games, he got 32 goals, 35 assists, 67 points. That's actually very, very good. And in the playoffs, he led our team of points, 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points. This is a player that is just a very, very gifted player. And if I were to just say anyone is a pure goal scorer on this team, I pick Seth Jarvis first over any other player. He's the closest to a pure goal scorer that we have currently on this team. And I do think his potential is a 40 goal season at some point. And I think if he hits that at some point, I think it could be sustained. But he just plays with an edge. He's very, very good skating wise. He can shoot the puck. He can make plays. Fantastic player. And the next player, just because of time, I'm going to group some of these players together here. But William Carrier, Tyson Jost, Juha Jaska. Actually, no, yeah, I'm just going to group these 3 players together. William Carrier, Tyson Jost, Jaska, to me, got some sort of the same grade. They got Bs. William Carrier, we brought him in on a kind of, $2 million contract, not bad. It was 5 years, so there is some link to it. I thought, obviously, to me, he is the player that plays more physically than any player on this team, and I like that. And I think he plays very, very well with Martinook and Stahl. And I'm happy he's on this team. I know there are some fans that don't like Carrier, but I think he's that type of player that you need in the playoffs and possibly to win a Stanley Cup. Remember, he did win a Stanley Cup with Vegas. Tyson Jost, I gave him a B along with Yaska. These are two players that haven't played a lot of games, but from what I've seen from these players, I'm like, okay, I think these are NHL type of players. Do I think they're probably fourth line players at best? Yes, but I'm that's why I'm kind of giving them B's because I'm like, not bad. Tyson just was called up a couple times to play. I thought the more games he played, he got better. And Juha Jaska, I mean, I think the guy can play in the league. I think if you wanted depth players, I think these are excellent depth players to have. And then Mark Jankowski, another trade deadline acquisition. I actually give him a B plus, just because one, he was on a huge goal scoring tread when we got him. So I believe he got like 9 goals. So B plus for that. Obviously, he didn't play a lot of games in the playoffs. I'm not going to judge him a lot on the amount of games just because he only played very few. But that's why I give him a B plus. And to me, the last player that I want to talk about that I will end with when it comes to the end of season grades, Logan Stankoven. I give this guy an A plus. And yes, he probably is my favorite player, other than Jacob Slavin, on this team, because this is a player who, I'm telling you, size is at a huge disadvantage with this guy. This guy's 5'8". He is small, but boy, does he play a big game because he is a pest. There's somewhat of a Jarvis in him, but he is also just very skillful. I think the guy can shoot. The guy can obviously make plays. He can get around the defenders very easily. He plays with like if there's a motor that's right on his back. Like the guy never stops. And that's what I love about Stankoven. And I think he's going to have a bright future here. I really do. But that's it for end of season grades. We're kind of going up on time here. I think I'm at 42 minutes. But remember, before we go, if you like this episode, please hit like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, and please give us a rating and a review if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify. So I will see you guys. I don't know why I keep saying we. Maybe it's because I'm so used to having another co-host, but I will see you guys Monday.